Hi everyone. Oh, let's try this. Fancy. All right, so I know it's Saturday, so I'm not sure how many people are going to be able to join us. If not, you're going to watch the replay because I think this is going to be a really good conversation, and we were kind of just excited about it, so we decided to jump on. So this is my best friend, Sara. If you guys don't know her, she is also a VA in my business who is absolutely phenomenal. I am so lucky to have her, and it's really cool because we get to do both, work together and be best friends. So we were having this conversation today because both of us experienced success really quickly in our businesses, and we were kind of talking about, like, that's great, but like, what's the actual stuff behind it? Would we do it the same way? Was it worth it? All of that kind of stuff. So we wanted to get on and talk to you guys about that, so that's what we're here for. But first, I just want to let Sara introduce herself to you guys.
Hello, Let Up Lifers. My name is Sara Wiles, and I am a VA in OBM, and I am also a mother, and that's me.
To the sweetest baby ever.
Thank you.
Who I'm here to see, and I'm so happy to see him.
So sweet.
Okay, so basically, my story is that in my second month in business, I had a 20K month, which is awesome and seems like the dream and was great in many ways, but I think there's like a lot of things that get assumed when you say something like that, right? Like, it must have been so easy, it must have been so great. Sara filled her VA practice in how long?
I'll have to look at the actual time, but it was like
4 weeks.
Yeah, 4 to 6 weeks. Yep.
Yeah, like between 4 and 6 weeks, Sara had a full roster of VA and OBM clients, so she had success really quickly, hit the numbers that she wanted to hit. You left your job, like, basically from the day you decided to when you left, like, at least less than 4 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, again, great. All of that's great, but, like, we want to talk about, like, what is the real stuff behind that, because shiny object syndrome is real, and it can seem like when you hear someone else say that, oh, they're better than me, or they're luckier than me, or they did something I don't know, or they have some secret trick. And so you know, overnight success looks really different. So one of the things we were talking about is that for me, like, I got 2 master's degrees, I worked at a really difficult, stressful, high-level job. I left that job, I started another business, and then I started this business. So, like, overnight success looks like I put 10 years of work in behind it that made me prepared and ready to start this business, and you're the same. So tell, like, your piece of that.
Yeah, so my background is in corporate event planning. So I spent 8 years literally traveling the U.S., working 20 hours or 20-hour days, busting my ass, producing amazing corporate events for clients, right? So my really, like, detailed, intense part of me comes from that, and I am only well suited for this business and role and know how to bust ass because I did that for 8 years, right? So it didn't just, you know, one day I didn't decide to do this and become crazy successful because I just wanted to do it. It's because I have the background and the drive for it.
Exactly. So it's like overnight success is such an interesting term, right? Because also, like, for us, overnight looks like 10 years and 6 weeks, right? So, like, yes, you filled it in 4 to 6 weeks, but, like, also 10 years behind that.
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing, and I know we both did this, is, like, we just literally, as Sara said, busted our asses at the beginning of our business. Like, I don't even remember the number anymore. I have it written down somewhere and I should go look, but I think I took something like 40 calls the first few weeks into my business. Like, that's a lot, and I did a lot of work, and I didn't get discouraged on them, and I just kept going and kept talking to people and kept showing up, and I put out a ton of content, and I hired a coach. A ton. I hired a coach. I mean, I think my first opt-in, and please don't do this, this is like, was the wrong thing to do, but was like a 52-page ebook, which I'm pretty sure Sara
helped you edit.
Sara is probably the only human that's actually read that entire thing, because who reads a 52-page ebook? But the point is, like, I was so relentless. I worked so hard. I showed up so consistently, like, every day. That's, like, was the primary focus. Like, how do I talk to people? How do I show up? And so it wasn't like there was, like, a magic secret. I literally just, like, busted my ass, and it resulted in clients, and all of that was good. And I want to talk in a minute about, like, if I would do it the same. But Sara, like, tell us, like, yours is similar. Like, you talked to a bunch of people and busted your ass. So talk about that for
That's
a second.
it. I mean, I made the decision like, hey, I'm not happy in what I'm doing anymore. I don't feel like I'm showing up in my life because of the ways I'm having to show up in my 9-to-5 and in my corporate job.
Yes.
And so I made the decision, and it was like, pardon the term, but like balls to the wall. Like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, which, you know, again, we'll talk about that in a minute, and that might be might not be the right decision. But yeah, I just showed up every day, and I continued to have calls with people and offer them value before I even had a paying client, right?
Yep.
And I think when you put that good stuff out there into the universe and you start getting clients and you do great work for clients and you show up for them, the universe brings that back to you. So whether that's because you're getting referrals or whatever it is, it's just going to come back to you.
And one of the things that we both did, which I think is like almost like frowned upon in this industry sometimes, is we both traded services and took free clients. Like, Sarah worked for me for free, which I was like, I don't want you to do that, and we had a big fight about it, and it was a whole thing, and she was like, no, it's really important for me to like test this out with you for free for a little bit, and then once it like you're happy, you can pay me. And I did that with clients too. Like, I took 3 clients for free for 3 months at the beginning of my business, so I was getting paying clients and working with free clients because I just wanted the work and the experience. And then another thing we both did is like, I traded services. So like I needed web design help, and I coached that person, and she supported me and my web design. You traded services too. So I think it's like, we think like quick success looks like that quick, and I get paying clients, and sometimes it can be both at the same time. But if you're not willing to like do the work for free, do it on trade, whatever, like, you don't love it enough, and you're not giving yourself the chance to really make it work. Because like, the person that I traded with has been a continuous source of referrals in my business. I know the same has been true for you. So sometimes there's other energy exchanges that come back to us. Like, it's not always money. The 40 people or however many that I talked to at the beginning of my business, all of them gave me something back, whether that was a testimonial in a Facebook group or a referral, or they became clients, or they became clients like way later on, or they were just a super engaged participant in my Facebook community or whatever. Like, when you like go that hard, like, you're not going to get yeses every time. You're not going to always see it come to fruition like in this perfectly planned out way. And I think that's what we wanted to say is like, the real deal is we busted ass, we worked for free, we traded services, but we made sure we got stuff out of it, and we made sure we leveraged it to create more of what we wanted, right?
And we didn't stop. You know, like, there was, you just don't stop, you just keep going. If you want it bad enough, you'll keep going.
Yes, and you had that like strong driving why of like, I am done with this 9-to-5. I have this like strong driving why of like, I am done working for other people and feeling like I'm not in integrity, like I need to be my own boss. And so like, those things drove us too. So I think like, I would love to know, would you do it again that way? Like,
I would. I would. I think part of that is personality based, right? So like, we're all a little bit different, and we all function in certain ways, and I tend to function in that, again, like, pardon the term, but like balls to the wall
you
way.
do.
If I'm going to do something, like, I'm going to do it insane.
Yes.
And if I half-ass it, I'll never do it. So I would do it again. You?
I don't know. I like, so some of the benefits were obviously that I made money really quick, and I felt like my business became, I want to say stable more quickly, but I would even use that term loosely, right? But it became, I felt credible more quickly, right? But I think the reason I wouldn't do it exactly how I did it is because sometimes when you grow that fast, like, your systems, your structures, it just was like, okay. So I'm not sure what you heard about that, but what I was saying is like, I don't know if I would do it that way again, because sometimes your systems and structures don't catch up with you. Like, I onboarded a bunch of clients at once, plus I had the clients I was working with for free. I had barely just gotten a website up, you know, and so then I was putting out content, creating a Facebook group.
You were crazy.
Trying to set up the structures for serving my clients, and even just getting them to like schedule a session or pay me or whatever. So there's bonuses to that, in that obviously I made money quickly, but I also put in a lot of work and a lot of late nights, and I had to work harder than I probably would have if I would have done 40 calls in 3 months instead of 1 month. So there's no right way, and I'm grateful, like, when I look back at myself, I'm grateful to the girl who like put in that work. But I also see how, like, I could have had a little bit more perspective on it. So I think what we want to say to that is, like, there's all this, like, shiny marketing that's, like, ease and flow and quick growth in 60 days. And it's just, like, not how it happens. You're either going to, like, bust your ass, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. And you're going to kind of set up your systems and structures as you go, much like I did. And I have mad respect for that and no problem with that. That's how Sarah did it too. Or you're going to do it a little more slowly and set up systems and structures as you go. And, like, frankly, if you had stayed in your job, you would have had to do it like that, right? So I think we just want to say that there's nothing wrong either way, but what you have to not do is, like, compare yourself and think, must have been really easy for Sarah, must have been really easy for Lacey. No, we both worked till midnight some nights and, you know, killed ourselves for a little bit, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But, like, if you want to do it differently, that's okay too, but you have to stop making yourself wrong for not getting these, like, super fast results. You have to be, I hate the word balance. What's a different word? Like, you just have to weigh the pros and cons, right?
Yeah, I think it's important to realize, like, mine and Lacey's lives look so much different, right? Like, so much different. And so it's really hard to compare yourself to Lacey when you have 5 kids. Like, your life's going to be a little bit different. You're not going to be able to do the same things that she is.
100%.
In the same way that, like, somebody with health issues or maybe some mental health issues, like, whatever it is, like, your life looks so much different than the person
or someone who just doesn't even have the personality to, like, go balls to the wall. It's just, like,
which
not
is
how they operate, right?
Like, bless you. Sometimes I want to be you. Most days.
Okay, so I think the other thing that is sort of, like, relevant here too is after you decide what's true for you, after you decide, like, I want to put in this much work and I expect to see this level of result from it, like, how do you give yourself grace around that? Because I think detachment is something I like to talk about a lot, and I don't want to go into it too much here because I could talk about that forever, but, like, neither of us were really attached to it being, like, one client, one thing, one person, one outcome. It was like, we'll just talk to all the people and do all the work and do all the things, and whatever comes from that comes from that. So it wasn't like being attached to, like, a specific person or thing or outcome, but being really attached to, like, showing up and doing the work, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Anna. Say what
I like that. Just being attached to showing up and doing the work and not necessarily the result, because the result will come when you're attached to showing up and doing the work.
Right, like, you weren't even like, I'm gonna leave my job in 4 weeks. Like, you never specifically said that.
No, and I think that's kind of the best way, was like we had talked and we knew there was going to be a breaking point there, and it's just, I worked until I was like, well, can't do this anymore, so we'll make the next thing work.
Right, like, you weren't like, I'm gonna leave my job in 4 weeks no matter what, and this next client that I talk to on the phone has to be it, right? And obviously everyone's situation is different. We all have, like, desires, and it's okay to claim them, but I think it was just this idea of, like, I want this to be different, and so I'm gonna get committed to, like, doing the work to create it, right?
Totally.
And I would say same for me. Like, I was sort of like, we'll just see what happens, and I feel like every client I have that sees, like, huge results quickly, it's almost always the same like, mentality, right? Of, like, okay, I'm just, like, here to show up and do the work. What does that look like, and how do I make it happen, right? So and then you have to, like, scale your level of success or outcomes based on that. Like, if you only want to work 3 hours a day, like, yes, by all means, but, you know, input and output are going to be consistent with that. But the key is not to make yourself wrong for it, right? Like, even, like, you're saying our lives are really different. Like, my business looks different than yours, and so you have to, like, not make yourself wrong, and I have to not make myself wrong, right?
Totally. Yep.
So, yeah, quick success is awesome, and it can feel really good, but usually it's not that quick, and there's a lot of shit behind it.
Yeah.
And you have to decide what that means for you, and if you actually want quick success, which is another great question, right? Like, do you really want, like, to have 10 clients all of a sudden, and then to have to, like, set up the systems and structures for that, and to go from 0 to 60? And some people do, and some people don't, and that's okay. But, you know, if you get real with yourself on that, instead of kind of trying to do the thing where you're like, well, I want both. I want it to be easy all the time and perfect, and I want to make $60K in 90 days. Listen, there are some unicorns out there. I'm sure that may or may not happen to, but at the end of the day, we all put in the work for the things that we get. So, work input, output makes a difference. And then I think the last thing is give yourself grace around it. Like, once you know what's true for you, like, don't compare. Keep showing up, keep getting committed to the process, and decide what that looks like for you, right? Thoughts on that?
Those are great thoughts.
Those are great thoughts.
Those are
we have lots of thoughts.
She has the best thoughts.
Okay, so if you have questions, comments about this, let us know. Like, I would love to know. Like, we kind of just wanted to start this conversation because we feel like there's less real talk about what quick success looks like. I know I've said to you before, and I'm like almost a little bit embarrassed to say this, but I've said to you before, like, I almost wish I didn't have success that quick, because I think it comes across in a different way. Like, it comes across as easy or perfect or whatever. And so I think it gets misinterpreted. So we just wanted to, like, open the conversation about, like, what does this mean? What happens behind the scenes? Like, you give for everything you get, right? Like, you've had to give up time with Max that you didn't want to, but it's also given you more time with him. Max is her baby. Stuff like that. So I think I would just love for you guys to share with us, if you're on or if you're watching the replay, like, what are your, like, real thoughts
I have a word for
on
this.
success? Yeah.
I have a word for this.
Tell me.
So I think we all talk about, like, yes, there's shiny object syndrome.
Right.
But then there's, like, the shiny thoughts. You know what I mean? Like, the pretty shiny thoughts. So these are, like, the unshiny thoughts. Like, you know.
Yeah,
those are the ones.
Success is great, and also this. Or, like...
Yeah, and it can be both.
Or, like, maybe I didn't get as much success as I wanted right away, but also I got this much more time with my kid or whatever. So just tell us, like, what does this look like for you? What's your, like, truth around it, I guess? Like, what decisions have you had to make? And let's just kind of open this conversation, because I think we don't want success to seem unreachable, or like it's only for the special few, or like there's a secret to it. But we also don't want it to seem like... And if you're not blessed with it and do it perfectly, that you're doing something wrong. So open up, tell us what you're thinking, and we hope this was helpful.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Love you.